Let's go ahead and go under the mouse option in the commands window by single clicking on mouse, and let's start from the beginning, get mouse position. The get mouse position will allow us to find out where the mouse currently is on the screen and get its X position, Y position, and put those into the numerical number variable that we assign to it. So if we said put X into N5 and put X or Y into N6, it will hold that information in those variables for us. And the reason why you'd want to have this option available to you is because if the user had the mouse at a certain location and based on that location you had the script do something, say if they had it in this coordinate up here and they moved it up into there, that it would display a text box or something like that. That can be accomplished with this get mouse position and a couple of other commands. Let's go ahead and press OK and go to our next option, which is the if mouse cursor. The if mouse cursor allows us to say, if the mouse changes to this type of cursor, then do the following functions. So if the mouse cursor, say, is a beam, which looks like this, or this size window, or an up arrow. Anyway, let's go ahead and try a beam and press OK. Next, we need to say to Macro Express what to do if the mouse cursor is a beam. So let's say it says a dialog text box display, and we say beam. And in the head, the box content, let's also type beam. Press OK. We then need to end this if statement. So what we need to do is go into logic and click on the end if option. So notice that it says if mouse cursor is beam, do the following functions, and then end this if statement. Now if we try to run this macro, there is no beam located in Macro Express, because what will happen is it will get the mouse position, it won't delay at all, it will just say, okay, if the mouse cursor is a beam, then do the following statements and then end the macro. Which we need to add a wait for window title delay, or even just adding a time delay so it gives us a few seconds to get into the notepad. Quickest way to do this is to type in a search for command. I'm going to type in wait for window or win, and this will now display wait for window title. So let's go ahead and double click on this, and you'll notice it gives me a few options. What window do we want to wait for to appear? Well, let's go ahead and type in notepad. And we want to wait indefinitely or a maximum of 10 minutes and 0 seconds, or we can change this time, of course. If we hit OK, what it's going to do is it's going to say, okay, get the mouse position. If the mouse is a beam at this point, then do the following. Well, that doesn't really work because we need to put that wait statement before the if mouse cursor is beam. So hold down Control and press the up arrow. Make sure that you have this wait for window title selected, and press Control or hold down Control and press the arrow up button. Let's go ahead and try pressing play and going into our notepad. Well, we have to be fairly quick at this for the macro to work correctly. So let's click on it and quickly roll over so that the beam appears. Now if you notice that it says beam and beam, which is what we told it to do between this if statement. Let's go ahead and press OK. Now to make this a little bit easier to make sure that we get into that notepad and we have time for that beam to actually display, we can add a delay from the timing command category of say 3 seconds. So let's go ahead and double click on delay and delay it in how many seconds or milliseconds or a time delay. Let's go ahead and just do delay in seconds of 3 seconds. Then what we need to do is move this up right after wait for window title. So now my macro is going to say, okay, wait for the window title notepad. Delay the macro by 3 seconds. If the mouse cursor is a beam, text box display beam, and then end that if statement. Now in order for us to modify our macro or to even see any of these lines of code, the actual options that we have available, we must first abort our running macros. So let's click the abort option, and we'll get the macro, whatever the name is, has been aborted. Press OK, and we'll double click on wait for window title. Now, one nice thing about this is the window title can actually be partial. So if we know the application that we want to wait for is Notepad, but we don't know, say, the document name, which in my case is Untitled, we don't have to specify that in the window title. Let's go ahead and press OK and rerun the macro again. You'll notice my guy's running, and when I start the Notepad, it will actually wait 3 seconds before continuing on with the macro. Now you'll notice that I got my beam statement because when my script continued on to this if statement, it was currently a beam. Let's go ahead and press OK to this and minimize our Notepad. Once again, we need to go back under the commands of mouse. The if not mouse cursor does the exact opposite of the if mouse cursor. If it is not the mouse cursor, then do this, and so on and so forth. The mouse click on control we're not going to cover in this video, as we're not covering controls yet. If you want more information on these, please review the book. Next, we have some pretty standard options, and if we click on or double click on mouse left button, you'll notice that I get my commands once again with pretty much all of the different mouse options that I have. Mouse move, mouse button click, or left button click, left button double click, left button down, which means that we'll just hold my left button down on my mouse, left button up. After I hold it down, it will click off. Same with the right button, middle button, and the only other options that really need explanation are the mouse wheel forward, which means that it will, if we have a wheel mouse, for example, it will emulate me rolling that mouse how many clicks through. So if I say 3, it's going to press my wheel up 3 times. And now keep in mind that won't do that physically, it will just do it in the computer. It will act like it really is doing it. And the reason why you use mouse wheel forward or mouse wheel backwards would be if you're in Internet Explorer. Let's go ahead and open that here. On my mouse scroll, if I move down the page about 3 times, my computer is set to scroll down 3 lines every time I use that mouse scroll. The best way to approach going down a web page or any type of document is using the page down or page up function instead. And the reason why I state that instead of using the mouse wheel is because that setting can be changed. The page up and page down will just go down a page or up a page. For example, if I'm running Windows XP and I just barely installed it, my default settings is per scroll that I do with the mouse wheel will do 3 lines. However, that number could be changed on a different computer, say to 8 or 20 lines per 1 scroll down or 1 scroll up. So by using a different command, using page up or page down on the text type, would probably be more efficient than using the mouse wheel forward or mouse wheel backwards. There's one other thing that I want to mention in the get mouse position, and that's relative to screen or relative to window, which means, do we want to detect where the user last places mouse being relative to the complete screen of the computer or to one window? Say this window would be a different coordinate if I was here versus to the screen, because on the screen it's starting from 0, 0, and this might be 600 by 400, whereas the relative to screen might be from here over to here, which might be 200 to 125 or something to that extent. Let's go ahead and press OK. And the other options, mouse left button, mouse middle button, mouse move, means mouse move will mean that it is going to move the mouse to a specific location relative to either the screen or the window, or relative to the last position the mouse was. So say from here it will move over to here, And then we need to specify our X position and our Y position. And how we get those is using the launch mouse locator, which will tell us our current screen position or our active window X and Y coordinate for the mouse. Let's go ahead and press cancel and continue on. The mouse right button we already covered. The mouse speed will allow us to control how quickly the mouse is moving, and we can delay how quickly the mouse speed is in milliseconds. So if we type in 500 milliseconds, it will delay the mouse for 500 milliseconds. Let's go ahead and press cancel. Next we have the mouse wheel, which we already discussed, the wait for left mouse click, which means that the macro, before continuing its execution, will wait for a left mouse click, or wait for the middle mouse click, or wait for the right mouse click. And this concludes our tutorial on how to use different mouse options. Thanks for watching.